We want education, not indoctrination for our children.
I don't believe in sexualizing children. I do not believe that other people have the right to decide what is sexually appropriate to teach other children.
There are many schools that have books with inappropriate pictures depicted in them that we would like to see not banned, but removed.
Not since the Daughters of the Confederacy has there been a conservative women's organization as influential as Moms for Liberty. They're taking the lead and getting books banned all over the country, are directly allied with Governor, a noun, a verb, and Fight the Woke, Ron DeSantis. And they are in a winning streak in red states, taking down popular fiction and LGBTQ-themed graphic novels like it's going out of style. This week, they're taking their act to Philadelphia for their Joyful Warriors National Summit. An interesting way to describe banning reading. And regardless of the fact that they recently received an extremist group designation from the Southern Poverty Law Center, the group's summit is being graced by the presence of all the leading Republican presidential candidates. And joining me now is Dawn Calloway, Democratic strategist and founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, and Simon Rosenberg, Democratic strategist and president of the New Democrat Network think tank. Thank you both for being here. Dawn, I'm going to start with you, because I would think that for Democratic strategists and Democratic campaigns, it's kind of a gold mine that all of these wannabe presidents are speaking before a group that's been directly associated with the Proud Boys.
It is, but you have to remember a couple of things. First of all, only you and I and Simon understand what a terrorist designation from the Southern Poverty Law Center actually means, right? So there's nobody on the Republican or even in the middle side of the American political spectrum who is thinking about that as a real red flag and understands that this means these are people who are really on the wrong side of history and probably a present danger to their fellow Americans, right? But I think that when you look at this politically, of course, Democrats are going to have to find a way to message around this, but it is very dangerous because if you look at the demographic and the archetype of those women, that is a demographic that the Democratic Party has tried to court along a tightrope for years now. We're talking about suburban white moms, some working, some not, but they're very difficult to attack, right? And so the Republican think tanks and the major funders who are behind Moms for Liberty and these mama bears and all that, and have been at it for 15 years now, and now it's bubbling to the surface, those people know that. And they are putting these kind of docile, just, American pie women up to put Democrats in an extremely difficult political position to try to rebut that. But if you take away the visuals and just listen to what they're saying, the crazy is still there, right? So it makes for perfect video ads because the crazy is still there if we're willing to get away from what they look and sound like.
Oh, it was in some of the eyes. In that video I was watching, I was like, ooh. Simon, I mean, then how do Democrats deal with that? Because, right, Republicans are good at naming things. Moms for Liberty, that sounds benign. But what they're doing, the polling, I presume, is extremely unpopular banning books.
It is. And I think we should lean into this debate and not shy away from it at all. I mean, I think that if we can't win a big debate with Republicans over book banning, I think we don't deserve to win the next election, right? I mean, this is something, we can't run away from all these culture war issues. We have to run into them, right? We can't run away from them. And we've got to contest their arguments and show them to be for what, as my colleague just said, right? The crazy is still there and we've got to expose it. And I think this week in general, Joy, was a really important reminder of the basic structure of our politics now. Joe Biden's been a good president. We got great economic numbers. We saw Putin stumble in Ukraine. We've seen better numbers on the border. There continues to be lots of positive news and evidence of his success as a president. And they continue to remind us who they are, that they are too extreme. They've been overtaken by extremism and extremists. And that fundamental contrast between us getting the job done and them being a little bit too crazy is the fundamental contrast we have to continue to establish in this election.
Well, let me stay with you for just a moment, because the numbers are very concrete. The economy is doing a lot better. You're seeing annual inflation falling to its lowest rate since 2021. Payrolls rose 339,000 in May. Jobless claims, 20-month drop. The economy showing stamina. You can go on and on. Inflation down. Unemployment rate is very low. And yet, President Biden's approval ratings are still underwater. And the disapproval on the economy. Can you explain this to me? Why would people have such a high disapproval rating for the economy when the economy is objectively good?
Well, he's got to go make his case. I mean, these numbers are not, we can't be satisfied with these numbers. And I will say in his approval rating, right, we're about at the same place as we were in the elections in 2022 when we did so well in the battlegrounds. And so we're not in a dangerous place, but we need to be in a better place. And I think particularly on the economy, this is the big narrative job for Democrats this year. We've got to get into a better place on economic issues. The president made it very clear they're going to launch a major campaign to do that now. We need to, as Democrats, we need to amplify these important messages, because we know from polling that when people are informed about what he's done, his numbers go up. And we've got to go help him make that case in the months to come.
And Don, you know, people's misery index is usually very personal. It's that my rent is too high, I don't love my job, or I don't have a job that pays me enough. And that does get sort of translated onto disapproval of the president, I presume. So how do Democrats do that messaging in that condition, especially when people are terrified of losing all their rights at the hands of the Supreme Court?
Yeah, I think that this is the first time in my lifetime that we as Democrats have a legitimate opportunity to message the Supreme Court to Black voters, particularly educated and middle-class Black voters. You know, historically, I don't want to simplify Black voters into a monolith, but for the last 25 years, it's been about economic opportunity, racial justice, police brutality, and criminal justice, right? But, and you know, I have seen Supreme Court and SCOTUS issues poll well among other demographics that are likely to vote Democratic. But this is the first time. Effectively, yesterday, the Supreme Court gave African-American voters what they gave liberal women voters last year, which is a reason to get out.
That's right.
Democrats have got to get behind messaging that, because it's new and it potentially resonates for the first time. And, you know, you have thrown we know how we feel about the social implications of the affirmative action, but when you couple that with the idea of Republicans concocting a case and controversy, right, in the gay marriage stuff, and concocting of a matter that didn't exist, and you couple that with the idea of the litigation that this will cause on deciding what colleges use race, this is an extremist Supreme Court. That can be messaged to Black voters.
Indeed. Everybody, everybody Black knows who Clarence Thomas is. They get that real quick. Don Calloway, Simon Rosenberg, thank you both very much.